Doc Rivers continues to time and time again not get it when it comes to getting... Oh! Let him play!
Brutal. I'm convinced if they were still playing the game right now, the offense still wouldn't have scored a point. So.
Look back all through the 60s and 70s and 80s. You never even heard the word Rangers in the playoffs. Right. Not even once. But they finally got over the hump, so that's good to see.
Yeah, it is, and hopefully it ends now.
In football, in basketball, in hockey, and in baseball, it comes down to the pitching. Defense is what wins games. And even Joe Blanton, my nickname for him is Doughboy. But
Dave and Queens will really, him and Tommy, they're the diehard NBA fans. If you could ask them really to break down Jared Bayless's game, whether it's a Blazer or a current Toronto Raptor, and they'll be able to give you the ins and outs of his game.
There's Devil fans? Yeah, there are actually Devil fans here.
From Los Angeles, this is
Hojo
in the City.
Oh, no.
Brought to you by Locks of the Week Radio.
What did I do?
Now, here's
Hojo.
No. Well, isn't that fitting that I would bork my own attempts to do a throwback intro? Like, that was the wrong one, but... You talk about a mush. Oh my gosh. Hi. Hello. This is the Sandwich Corner. I'm Dave. You also know me as Dave who's eating a sandwich on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok and pretty much anything that has sandwiches. It's nice to have you here. This is the Sandwich Corner. We were known as Dave in the City Out West for a very long time, and during this long time, we've had some really good guests, and one of them tonight is going to be joining us in just a moment. But I just want to thank you for continuing this journey with me as we round out the final weeks of the Sandwich Corner podcast. It's been a really great ride, and over on Twitch, we're having a really great ride too. It's been crazy, busy, been exciting, and everything. But in the middle of all that chaos, beautiful chaos, to be clear, it's been really fun. I've been having a great time just getting to catch up with good friends, and so it is March Madness. It is tournament time. We've had some great moments chatting basketball with our good buddy Chris in Syracuse, and Chris is back on the program at least one more time. Chris, it is great to see you. How's it going tonight?
That's very well, Dave. I didn't realize the name had changed. I'm waiting for Dave in the City Out West. And, the intro still started the same way, which of course that never changes. But you got to change it up. But the Sandwich Corner and Dave eating a sandwich, I can see Dave eating a sandwich.
You probably have seen me eating a sandwich before back over the years, during our podcast or whatever. So, I mean, there have been changes and little, stuff like that. And I did actually change the intro for a little bit. But as we're rounding things out, I feel if we're going to bring down the curtain, why not bring back the classic, oh, let him play. I had to. So, I'm glad you all enjoyed that. Like, it's always been, silly and hysterical all the time. And it's been great just living that again and to be able to do this again with you. So, how are you? What's new?
Oh, I'm doing well. I'm just hanging out here. Had a couple drinks down at the club.
Nice.
They were wondering why I left a little early, but I had to get some food. I had to get home. I had to do this and, watching some NIT ball.
Oh, NIT ball. Let's go. Who we got? Who are you on? What's happening?
Well, I got away with Loyola of Chicago, the Ramblers, earlier.
Okay.
They're on their way to the semifinals. And now I just need UAB here.
Oh, UAB.
Getting 4.5 against the Anteaters from out your way.
Oh, that's interesting because they were, it looked for a moment there they could have even made the big show, right? The way that things were going in the middle of the year, but I mean,
UCI with 30-win season of their program's history.
Yeah.
So nothing to snuff at, really.
No, absolutely. I mean, that's a great year. But even in the Big West, it's a great year. That's a fantastic season. So yeah, big stuff. So hopefully they come through for you. And we'll see how it goes. But I mean, it's always interesting to know the stories of how these things started. And I know we met each other on a message board called themikefrancesa.com. And I think there might even be people listening or watching this tonight who don't even have the backstory because they may be jumping in after seeing me over on Twitch for the Sandwich Show.
It's been so long.
Yeah.
It's been so long since I've been here. It's been a little while since the board days.
Oh, for sure. We had some good days though.
Fantastic days.
Yeah. I mean,
good memories.
Absolutely. Do you remember the polls we were doing for the fast food tournament and the NES tournament, like the video game tournament I did over there?
Oh yeah. I remember the video game tournament.
Yeah. Fun times. Controversy too. We already had people were talking about snubs. We were talking about upsets and stuff, and it was a lot of juice. I think what struck me about those days is that I was really didn't realize how much of a blessing it was that we had like 100 people in there, and I just took that for granted. I think in its heyday, it's really hard to do that on a message board or anything, So,
right. I mean, you figure even now you say message board, that might sound a little bit dated, but I mean, it was so much fun and it was so active. From the clown show in the morning, right through Mike in the drive time, and then into the game threads, and we had some fun game threads. I know that I was more of a late night person.
We did it. Oh yeah, I mean, and then in those days the Mets still had a little bit of juice. I mean, they still have juice now. Obviously, they had a really good playoff year, but the Mets had some juice back then too. I remember the Yankees Mets games in the early 2010s were insane.
Oh, when Castillo dropped that ball, that ball, that was top board moment. That is a top moment right there.
Yeah, that's
because
true.
I'd actually turned my head to look back at the screen and like refresh. And, he dropped the ball.
Oh my gosh, yeah. The thread exploded that night. It was amazing. I just loved it. Yeah, we had the Yankee Red Sox games we were following along with, and we had playoff games and it was cool, at least for a couple of years, that you had both teams kind of like getting some juice, like in the postseason. Like the Mets had their run in 2015, Yankees had their run in a couple of years. I mean, 2009 they won the whole thing, so like that was part of that arc, like in the beginning of our board's existence. So it was fun too.
Right. One of the fun game threads I always go back to is the Vancouver Canucks hockey riots.
The Vancouver riots you wouldn't think that would be really funny, but they were really funny. You're right.
They're Canadian. How mad do they really get?
Fair.
I'm sure they all went around apologizing the next day.
That's actually pretty funny.
We lit your car on fire.
It's just such an unlikely scenario. You don't think of Vancouver being a place where you'd have a riot, and the cops were just standing around like not doing anything. Oh my gosh! Oh, that's a good memory. Good call on that. But yeah. I mean, the football too was pretty sweet. Like I remember the Jets had their really good Rex Ryan. We clown Rex Ryan for good reason, right? But they did have a really good playoff run. Fair, right, totally. But I know that the thing about our buddies who root for the Jets is that, man, they've been struggling. They are hungry. They are hungry for something. Like, and now they're just hungry to win. Like, they're not even hungry for the title at this point. They just want to get back in the playoffs. Like, that's how bad it's gotten.
Yeah, well, look at who they share a building with. You're paying Russ $21 million.
I can't believe that contract. I told my buddies that's like 20. Yeah.
After you do that, and you sign Winston, you're not drafting a quarterback. What was last year for?
That is, no, you're right. You hit it on exactly. Like what was that? What is the point of? Wow, the level of incompetence in the Giants right now is just unbelievable. Like they can change the GM from time to time. They can change the coach. They can change. I mean, they just can't get out of their own way right now. It's so bad.
Yeah, it's I'm like, okay, so they're gonna maybe draft a quarterback and you let Jameis Winston play a year and whatever. It's like now I don't know what they're doing. I can't even I don't even know what they're doing.
No, for real. Like you can't make it up, as they say. Like
No.
it's brutal. I mean, even the Knicks had juice lately. They're actually pretty good right now. Yeah, them. Yeah. Rangers aren't too bad, so that's not so bad. Even the Devils are pretty good. So
Well, we have baseball coming, and
yeah,
I'm already on the ledge on that.
I figured. No, I get it. We were talking with the Jerry and Ari last week here, and yeah, I get it. I get it.
Cap, I couldn't even imagine.
Oh yeah, poor Cap. I mean, yeah.
I just wanted to quit baseball before the thing even started.
No, I would normally say, oh, Yankee fans, calm down. You just came off a World Series. No. But this time, I'm like, you lost your best pitcher for the season already. Like that's rough. Like there's no sugarcoating that. Like that's a tough start to the year. And that was just like one of the injuries. There's like a bunch of them, right?
Oh yeah, Stanton, a few others, LeMahieu.
Yep.
It's just Heel. It just never ends.
Yeah.
Never ends.
True story. We're saying, well, let me say.
No, I was just gonna say, I did think that, as good as that Yankees roundtable was after they lost to Detroit that year
in
the wild card series, how epic a Yankees roundtable would have been after the 5th inning of that World Series game.
Oh, you mean last year?
Yeah.
Especially if you schedule it at the start of the 5th inning and it was live,
right.
That would have
meltdown.
I appreciate you being a good enough sport to get a kick out of it, because I would get. I mean, listen, if it went the other way, I probably would have felt just as fun. I would have thought it was just as funny. Like, yeah, for sure. That's still crazy to think about, right? Like how that just basically somebody could. Yeah, it basically starts with like a muff and a ground ball, drop fly ball, and then it just snowballed into bigger and worser things for the Yankees.
It's hard to imagine an inning any worse than that, and in that kind of spot.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's crazy. Like, So, I wanted to say hello to Snags, who's in our chat. What's up, Snags? Snags is from the sandwich community. Nice to see him. Nice to see Snags. Says hello, peeps. Our buddy Snags, big hockey fan, huge hockey fan. Excuse me. And I think we've got another 2 months to go before the NHL starts the Stanley Cup playoffs. But there was some juice with the Four Nations face-off. That was actually a really, really fun time. I'm not sure if you were in on that at all, but
I did see it. I was kind of, at first I'll say this, I didn't quite understand the hype at first, maybe because it was so new. I'm just saying, what are we doing here? What are we trying to do? We're breaking up the season for this. But I guess it was a very good substitute for any kind of all-star game, because we all know that those are played no matter what sport it is, from the baseball to the Pro Bowl to the NBA All-Star game. They're almost unwatchable now, but they put something with some drama, and the guys cared. And I guess I didn't get that at first, was that they were going to care like that, because it was so new. And I wasn't on the ground floor of it. It just kind of came up on me.
Yeah.
And I didn't quite understand what they were trying to do. But once I saw what they were doing, I was like, oh, this is cool. This is some drama. These guys are going all out for this. And
oh yeah.
I guess that's what you want to see, is the competition.
Yeah, I was honestly just as surprised as you. I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. Okay, cool. I wasn't really thinking about it. And then like you started reading on the internet, like all the people just going crazy for it. People get on the edge of their seats about it. I'm like, wow, this is really looking pretty good. And so I finally watched like the game for the title between the US and Canada, and that was a great game. Like it went to overtime. Great game. Yeah. So, big props to the NHL for, even if they weren't trying to do it for it to go this well. It went very, very well, so you got to give them a lot of credit.
Yeah, I guess breaking up the season isn't too bad. I mean, they do it every fourth year anyway for the Olympic scenario. So
yeah, which I understand they're gonna have the pros back in the in the Olympics for the next go around in the winters. That's great.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
Huge. Yeah, Snag says huge and a hockey fan. Yes, absolutely. Now, Chris in Syracuse, my buddy here, I don't think you necessarily have a specific team you root for in NHL.
Rangers, but it's kind of by default.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're like Tommy, like you're like the Pulse, like you jump in on the playoffs, and that's I don't shame.
Yeah.
I don't shame you for that though. Like,
third, I'm all for it. I don't see much regular season stuff. I'm more concentrated on this.
Yeah. College basketball, where the action's at, CBI, NIT, and of course the NCAA, which completed its weekend of action. It's an interesting. It was a little. I'm gonna say just some quick hitters on the NCAA, as Mike would call it. It was a very different kind of a weekend. I mean, you had close games. I don't remember there being a buzzer beater, but I also remember there being a lot more blowouts than I remembered in this round. Maybe that's to be expected, but just interesting. It's just I wouldn't necessarily say it was bad because you had some good games too. Like I remember the A&M game against Baylor. Or I'm sorry, was it A&M? But Baylor versus I think it was Miss State. But the Baylor game,
Mississippi.
Yeah, that was a good one. Like that was a solid game. Like that, nobody pulled away from that one. Like, it was a good one. And then there were a couple other games like that.
Oh yeah, but I guess what you don't have is like a big deep seed making it to the second weekend. Really.
Yeah, we definitely missed that.
I think that's where people are a little disappointed.
Yeah.
And I get it, and it's kind of the lay of the land these days. And actually, when I was watching the CBI last night, Lenardi was kind of touching on it, how you're not getting the same kind of sense. You're not getting the same kind of Cinderellas because it's more weighted now to the power conferences. I mean, there were 14 teams from the SEC, and the SEC had an all-time year. So I'm not even ragging on it, but you got 14 teams from the SEC from one conference. And maybe you could leave out and some of them were under 500 in the SEC.
It wasn't.
Maybe you could put in a couple of these quote unquote mid-major teams and just give them a chance rather than some of these. I mean, I hate to say it because I was on a little bit this year at time to time, but Missouri, would anybody have missed Missouri if they weren't there?
No. Good call. I think I was on them too, though, which is dumb. Like I should not have done that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Snacks with a comment. The women's bracket was so favorite heavy. Yeah. Actually, you made a point about that in our chat thing the other day. Like some of these team games have been really, really lopsided. Like really easy for the women's side.
Oh yeah, but that's to be expected. Usually is in the women's side. You have a couple real dominant teams, and you're just waiting to see how they're going to play each other. But your South Carolinas, your Stanford, your UConn, all those scenarios. I know what's her name, Juju Watkins. She had the ACL scenario.
Oh God, I saw the ping about that. Oh God,
that was tough.
That's such a bummer. USC was having a great year, like a great year in women's college basketball. Like that just hurts. That hurts. That's But no Caitlin Clark scenario, of course, because Caitlin Clark moved on to the pros, and I don't have any real idea because I wasn't really looking at the previews or anything, but we know that the defending champion in South Carolina, it sounds like they're gonna be one of the players for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, you have UConn. blew a team out by 60 or whatever the other day, and
yeah,
then they destroyed somebody just the other night too. Paige Beckers, her last night on her home floor, tied a career high at 34 points, but didn't look too tough for them. I'll tell you that much.
yeah, and it's okay. Like we were talking about, like, it's just the lay of the land in the women's sport. There's just a lot of really great programs, and I don't think the sport is at a point where we're more than like maybe like 5 to 10 teams could be that good in the sport. So it's really just a credit to the people who run those programs, and particularly Tennessee and UConn traditionally, and as you mentioned, South Carolina today. You do have a number of really, really big programs there.
Yeah, LSU and Ken Mulkey. You can say what you want, but they're having success.
Yeah. Oh, let me just talk about UConn. Like, if you go back to the men's tournament for a second, like, UConn was really opening some eyes in the first day and a half, first game and a half of that tournament, of their tournament run. Because after the first game, you're like, oh my gosh, is UConn back? Because they did not have a good year in the regular season, but they actually looked good in that opening game. And then they played Florida, and you had a moment there where you thought they were going to pull it out, and I feel like they let that one get away. I think it was there. I don't know. Your thoughts?
In the end, it went the way I kind of expected it to. Really didn't see, UConn preseason I thought would be one of the favorites again, just because no one's been able to touch them for 2 years,
right?
Like not even close.
The
last 2 years,
mm-hmm.
And I thought it might be more of the same, but I mean, right from the get-go, right from Maui, where they lost 3 in a row,
right?
It's like something's wrong, something's not right, and you wouldn't have seen them fall into an 8 seed. At least I wouldn't have. But when it came down to it, it didn't kind of surprise me that it was that close. But it's a well-coached team, and we can get into that scenario too, because he's getting beat up over his shenanigans there.
Well, he was for about 5 minutes the coach of the Lakers. I remember that very well, and he got killed for it. I'm like,
well, they wanted him.
They definitely wanted him. Yeah. That would it have been a good hire? I mean, probably. I mean, Dan Hurley is. I mean, Hurley is a very good coach. I think it's Bobby Hurley. Sorry, or maybe I've never. Maybe it's Dan Hurley. I get it mixed up all the time. But yeah. But Coach Hurley was definitely a hot commodity during the winter this year, and as you would expect after the tournament, after the championship, and everything else. So,
He had 2 in a row.
Yeah.
The Lakers wanted him. Kentucky wanted him.
Yep.
And he just said no. And he ended up, getting paid more money at UConn. And, but where he wants to be, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw some things like, oh, he left in the second round. He could be coaching LeBron and Luka right now. And I'm just like, I wouldn't even want the headache of trying to coach LeBron at this stage.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry, I wouldn't.
We've been on the same page about that for a while. Like yeah.
Now you got to deal with it. Now you got to deal with the damn kid.
You just can't stop it. You're just like, oh god, more nonsense. The kid. Oh my god.
Right. Yeah.
But it is what it is. Like,
but to your point, UConn came back in that game against Florida, but Clayton nailed those couple of threes for Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And Gators, ever since they beat early in the conference season, they beat Tennessee. And then there was a return game, I think late January against Tennessee, and they got absolutely stopped by the Vols. It was like a 30-point game. Might have been closer to 40.
Mm-hmm.
But ever since then, I've started to believe in them more and more as time goes on. And, they get up and down and they score the ball a lot. They remind me, I don't think they're all that different from Alabama, really.
Oh, Florida? Yeah. They've really been impressive to me as well. Like, I actually really like their chances here. I mean, just looking at we can put this on screen so we can show everybody else on watching on YouTube. But the bracket looks extremely winnable now. Like, I think Maryland would actually be the toughest team they play on their way to the Final Four. I mean, Texas Tech is solid. I mean, the Big 12 is always
I would not sleep on Texas Tech.
Yeah,
I really would.
That's fair. Because, like, again, playing in a tough conference like the Big 12, and Texas Tech has definitely held their own against a lot of people over there. So, no, that's fair. That's fair. So we might have a pretty good battle in the Elite Eight if they get that far. And as I mentioned, Maryland might be a tough out too because they've been, I mean, you can see they had that tough win against Colorado State. They got it done. It's a matter of whether they can maintain that same pace as Florida. But your point about them being like Bama is spot on. Like, I was looking at the over-under. I think I've told you about it. I'm like, I think you got to take the over in the first game because I'm like, if they get going at all, they're going to score 90 plus, and they did. So I wanted to be good. The pain for the cover in the first round. Did you see that? There was like 26 and a half.
Yeah.
Were you?
Well, I should have known. I watched that game down at the club, and drunk Eddie came up to me and said, "Did you take them?" It was 28 and a half. Did you take them 28 and a half? I'm like, "No, I'm not taking a spread that big." He's like, "The best bet tonight." I'm like, "Okay, buddy."
No, good call, Chris. Good call. Like, no, and it was 28 and a half. I'm sorry. I know why I keep thinking 26. It was actually 28 because, like,
no, it doesn't matter. It ended up being what, a 20-point game, 22-point game, something like that.
Yeah. It in the end, it was like it wound up being a kind of an easy cover in the final 2 minutes for Norfolk State. It's just the point of it is that's a lot of points. That is a lot of points. Like, I mean, yes, Duke did it, but just because they covered a 30-point spread doesn't mean that most teams are going to be in position to really do such a thing. I mean, that's a lot of points. And if you start resting guys, like, it's really tricky.
Yeah, and it's like, you're up 28 or you're up 25. Is it really that big of a difference? No, you're not going to.
Yeah.
In the game flow, it doesn't matter that much. Now, would you rather be up? No. If you got like a 6 or 7-point spread, would you rather be up 8 points than 5 points coming down the stretch? Of course you would. You work for that.
Yep.
But I don't need to be up 3 more points if we're already up 25.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like you said, when you have your starters out there and it's already got like less than 4 minutes in the game, like, what's the incentive of keeping them out there? All you do is risk them getting injured. So it's like, it's just rest people, finish the deal.
Right, but then you can get scenarios like the Houston game and their first round game. They had the scrubs in, and I had the under. And at first half, I was like, "Oh, this is already over. This is gone. This is done." And then Houston, and this is where Houston can have trouble because they are a well-coached team. They are a great defensive team. They missed, I believe, 16 consecutive field goals from the field.
Wow.
In that first round game. And it brought the under back into it. Not that the other team was getting any closer, it was just ticking time away.
Yeah.
But then Sampson brought in the bench scrubs, and all of a sudden they start scoring as time's running out, and they're shooting the ball, and I'm like, just hold it, run down 30 seconds. I mean, it's like they want to tell their kids, they scored in an NCAA tournament game, I guess is.
Yeah. It's the Houston is the new Virginia. It did work out. I look at the score. It did work out. It was a 118-point total game cumulatively, 78 to 40.
It was 125 or 126, something like that.
But every time I see a Houston spread, it's around there. It's like 125 or less usually, and I'm like, I saw 130, and even that I didn't trust. I'm like, I don't know, because the other team was a pretty good offense, and I find Houston to be the new Virginia. Virginia is a non-factor. That was wow. Since the retirement of Tony Bennett, they have just not looked good at all. It's actually sad.
Oh, it's gotten bad. You want to talk about sad? People I don't know, state coaching doesn't matter. Can look at quite a number of different scenarios around the NCAA.
Yeah.
And Tommy, if you're listening, I'm here to tell you, we had a rant way back. I said, sir, you should be just fine. And you said just fine isn't good enough. And let me tell you right now, we are not just fine up here. And just fine would be more than good enough right now. We would love to be just fine up here. And we're not even close.
Well said.
We went from a perennial basketball program to a bad and above all boring program.
Yeah.
And I used to sit at the bars. I used to hear all these old men who think they know better talk about how, once Boeheim goes and he gets out of the way of the program, we're off to the races. Yeah. How's that working out?
Right.
How's Villanova doing without Jay Wright?
Great question.
They just fired their guy. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They're waiting. They're right now. They're waiting for Maryland to get knocked out of this tournament so they can go hire Kevin Willard. The other two names I heard linked are Richard Pitino, and he just took the job at Xavier because Sean Miller went to Texas after Gus Fring got fired.
Mm-hmm.
And the coaching carousel is spinning as fast as it goes right now.
Yeah.
But the only other name I've heard for Nova, other than Kevin Willard, is 72-year-old Bob Huggins.
He's still around?
Coming out of retirement.
Or did he?
He's retired.
He's retired, but he might come back. Wow.
So if they start talking,
I guess, yeah, I mean.
That was the only other name I heard.
All right. If the price is right, I suppose. Right? Yeah.
Apparently, Villanova really wants Kevin Willard. I think Adrian Autry in Syracuse, I think he gets one more year here because he's got a good class coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And he got, there's about 5 kids right now that are leaving in the portal, and none of them I really care about that much. JJ Starling and one other kid are coming back, and that Devontae Freeman, and that's going to be, those are the kids you want, the ones that you want back to go with Carmelo's kid and the other guys that they're bringing in. Plus, you got to hit the portal these days because that's what college basketball is now.
Wow, basketball too. I mean, we've seen it in football for the last 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
It's just constant.
Yeah.
And of course, and we could do a whole show with a panel about what the whole landscape of college sports. You could do a whole 3-hour show on that.
Yeah, there's a lot of give and take to that, right? Like it's tough. It's
so much stuff.
You do. I see the side I see the player side of it, but I think it can be. The one thing is it's really tough on coaches. Like there's no question for me that it's tough on coaches. Like I do think coaches get overpaid in college sports, but I also think, but it is tough on coaches to have to deal with that because how do you make a program? Right, exactly. And I think the reason why I think it's particularly interesting here is because you're not just talking about the big programs. I feel like even the mid-majors get affected by this transfer portal too, right? Like it's, yeah.
Big time, even worse. It's even worse for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you got somebody, because if you do have somebody real good, that's all MVC or OVC or Horizon or whatever, they're gone.
Yeah.
See ya. They have eligibility left. They're gone because the power schools see that,
and
they're coming for them, and they know they can go to an ACC school, a Big 10 school, Big 12 school, and go there and get playing time because it's happening. You're seeing it.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing it. So it does, and it just goes back to what we were talking about with the tournament so far. It's been a little uneven in some certain situations. Like there've been some good games. Don't get me wrong, but we've had these uneven results, and teams that are often transient, like Kentucky. Kentucky did all right. I mean, I know they didn't get that far, but I think overall they did all right. Illinois is they beat They beat Illinois. I mean, yeah, you can see right here. They even took out Illinois, so now they're in the Sweet 16. I mean, they're in the Sweet 16.
Yep.
So I mean, it's a good spot. So we'll see what. Why is this not reflected here? Oh, it's over here. Okay, yeah.
With a first year coach, so
yeah, pretty good.
They're doing okay.
Doing okay.
You just don't have the 12th seed, the 13th seed, the 11th seed making a deep run.
Yeah,
none of them are in the second weekend.
Yeah,
thought maybe Colorado State would have a chance. Everyone was high on them. So was I, at least to win the first game.
I have to tell you, I blew it with that game. Because I was so sure that the Mountain West would fade like they usually do, but then I gave up on my own trend because I love the fade Penny Hardaway trend with Memphis. I love that trend. And somehow I quit on it just because of the other trend. Like one trend beat the other trend. It was a dumb decision because I'm like, number one, like, who was favored in that game? Memphis had to be favored. I'm sure they were favored, right? But oh, they were not favored. No. It was like 1 point. Then it was like 1 point spread. Then, like for Colorado State, like 1.5.
It was 1.5 or 2.5 point spread.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe that's
favored in that game as the 12 seed.
Maybe that's
which scared the shit out of me.
Yeah,
picking them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Oh yeah,
because Vegas knows, and it's like, oh, that's just just a nasty number. It's a nasty number.
It's a nasty number for sure because it's like, what? There's something's not adding up here. It's like, why is a 12 seed favored over the other team? Like, and if I had just known somebody, I heard somebody somewhere talk about how Memphis was missing a starter for this game. And like, if I had known that before the tip off, I probably would not have taken them. Like, and that's why I need to pay more attention to these previews, because then we can see, if there is a key player that's not going to play in a game like this.
Yeah, but they see, what gave me a little bit pause on the Memphis side was I actually watched their last two games in the conference tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh man, they're missing a guy and they still look good.
Oh,
and yeah, they were playing North Texas or not North Texas, but Tulane and other team. I just watched them anyway, but they looked really good. But I'm like, Colorado State was on such a run that I still ended up taking them. I did not have McNeese beating Clemson. I can tell you that much.
What an embarrassing game for Clemson that was too. Like, their offense was trash in that game.
Ooh.
It was honestly a more embarrassing game than the score indicates. Like, they were down a lot. Like, they were down a whole lot in that game. So the idea that
McNeese did not have a good end of game situation going.
Yeah. Exactly. I think the final basket by Clemson was at the buzzer, so it actually was like a 4-point difference. So it was lip service, like that. Even that was like lip service. So like,
of course, the McNeese coach. That's wild to me. Will Wade's going to be back in like major college basketball now after everything that's happened.
No, NC State, is that what I heard? Or where is he going?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It is.
Wow.
Crazy to me after everything that's happened.
Yeah.
That Will Wade's back in major college basketball.
I don't know. I mean, I guess if it can happen to Hugh Freeze, it can happen to anybody, I suppose. But
yeah, that's true. If it can happen to I'm terrible with names.
Bobby Petrino?
I don't know why. Petrino,
yeah, I was gonna say Bobby Petrino. That's sleaze, of course. Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, you got names flying all over the place. I look up at the TV last night during the NIT game, and I didn't even catch it during the day. It's like, oh, we're talking to the new coach of UNLV, Josh Pastner. I'm like, what? When did this happen?
That's something else. Yeah, it's pretty nutty stuff. Let me just see if I can share some other thoughts I had from the first round, and then I'll give it to you to just share any other quick hitters. I actually gave UCLA a chance to beat Tennessee. How wrong I was. Tennessee's great. Like, it's a great team. Like, I keep going back to I'm hanging on to the Rick Barnes is going to choke a game scenario. And he
I
still think he's going to choke
mean,
a game, but I'm just picking that a little too early, as I think.
Yeah, too early. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, UCLA had a really nice year though. Like, even though they looked so feeble against Tennessee, I think that says more about Tennessee than UCLA. Like, Tennessee's just that good. Like, they are a very good team. So to be fair, like, I think they did their job. Do you have anything else? Yeah, no, you mentioned Texas Tech. That was a great. Yeah, they had a very nice round. The win over St. John's is pretty impressive, actually, and that's Calipari. You know, you teased it a bit in our messages like a few days ago. Like, you're like, yeah, you know, this is going to be a good matchup, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, Arkansas was very much a live dog in that game.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's got everything working right when he needs it to work. The second half of the season,
Yeah,
you know, they started out a little down, and they got a kid who might be coming back, a contributing kid who might be coming back. I mean, I had zero compunction. You know, I had zero problem picking them over Kansas because Kansas was not Kansas this year.
Yeah, that's true. They just really didn't look that good. And, you know, the game that they blew against, I'm trying to remember, is this the game that they blew against Houston at home?
Yes.
That was ridiculous. Yeah. Like,
I left where I was thinking I had won the game. And next thing I know, I'm looking at the scorecard. I'm looking at the scoreboard in the gas station parking lot, and it's double overtime now. I'm like, I don't want to throw shit.
Coach was doing the same thing. My buddy Coach over in Denver, like, same thing. He thought for sure that was a win, and he was so mad in the text after that game, and I don't blame him. Like, I just can't believe you can lose a game with like 12 seconds left. It's unbelievable. It's just it really isn't. So from that point on, you can't ever trust Kansas in the game. So I totally.
No.
Yeah.
Totally gave them the wave. I did have Drake over Missouri because, like I said, I didn't think Missouri needed to be there. I didn't think they needed to be a 6 seed by any stretch of the imagination.
Yep.
And that Bennett Sturts kid is the real deal.
Yep.
Or Drake. And he's following the coach to. He's going to follow the coach to Iowa, so you'll see him on an even bigger stage.
Wow. Yeah, Iowa was not terrible this year either. They weren't great. They weren't great. I feel that, but I'm just saying, like,
they were bad enough to get Fran McCaffrey fired.
Fair, yeah. I know they didn't make the tournament. I mean, I'm not saying they were. Yeah, that's actually quite fair. Because Iowa was definitely not Iowa this year from the standpoint of, like, their offense. You know, they're normally known as, like, a really up-tempo, high-paced offensive team. And that offense just wasn't happening this year. Like, they were extremely disappointing on the offensive side of the ball. But where was I at? Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I totally didn't catch the Drake train. Like, I totally was not in on the Drake train. I totally missed that one this year. I got to give it to them. Like, and, you know, I mean, I was like, I think they said that was the first time they had won a game in the field of 64, like, ever or something in a long time. Yeah.
I mean, they had a 31 win season, so
yeah. No, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, it's not the hugest surprise, but it was a really great run, and as you said, they came into that very, very strong. The momentum going into the tournament was very good for Drake.
Of course, I'm still a little surprised to see Purdue around. Honestly, I just wasn't a Big Ten fan this year, and they're kind of proving me wrong. You know, with Maryland still alive and Purdue still alive.
Yeah. I mean, I did like the Big Ten all right, but we did talk about how they had a lot of mad teams this year. And I know Ohio State and Penn State were two of the mad teams we were talking about. And kind of Oregon was pretty mad too for parts of the year even. But they're all right now, but I'm just saying, like,
I mean, Big Ten outside of Michigan State.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, that's right. And Michigan State's second half was fantastic, right? Like, they really kicked it into gear. Yeah. That's the power of Izzo.
But even when you look a little closer, even Michigan had a good second half of the year.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. I mean, and they did a great job fending off UC San Diego. Like, that's Even though that
Yeah.
doesn't seem like a tough game, it's probably sneaky tough, and so that was a good one for him.
Yeah, it was. Yep.
And then beating the Aggies, and then
yeah. They're still alive. Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be alive for long because they play Auburn next, but
right, yeah. Auburn's beatable though. Auburn is beatable.
Yeah. If they're not on from 3, then you got a shot against them. Yeah.
And they seem to get ruffled awful quickly. Mm-hmm. I've seen a couple of their guys lose their cool pretty quickly, and saw that Baker Mazzara kid get kicked out of a game there late in the year.
Yeah.
Just, I know. I think, no, man. I hate saying it. I don't hate saying it. I've been on Duke since the start of this.
You know what?
It's the best team with the best player.
You know what? I'm with you on that. I'm 100%. I'm pretty sure I said this to everybody. Like I really like Duke going into this tournament. They just look like the best. I mean, sometimes it's just because you see them the most, but they have really done a good job of taking care of business this year. And to see that they did basically the same thing in the first 2 rounds of the tournament is extremely impressive. You have Baylor who came in, just came out of this tough game against Mississippi State. We talked about it. I mean, that was a really tough game. Good game. Really good game. But then Duke just blows them out of the water in the next round. It's like, Duke's defense is great. Like, I really just don't see anybody else beating him. Mush, sure, possibly. But so far, they've looked fantastic.
If you think their defense is good now, they're saying they could possibly get Malik Brown back this weekend. Who's an even bigger defensive menace. And I got to see that up close because he's a Syracuse transfer.
Wow. Oh, right. Wow. That's a big get for Duke for sure.
Yeah. I mean, Arizona's not going to be easy. Caleb Love is looking like, at times in that last game, he looked like Caleb Love.
Uh-huh.
Like the Caleb Love that takes, UNC to the final game.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh man, this could be rough for Duke. And then the last couple minutes against Oregon, the whole thing started falling apart. That game ended up way closer than it should have been.
Oh yeah.
And that was like the last game too on Sunday. I'm just sitting here like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. We're not going to do this.
That's always tough when you have, especially if you're on it, like you're just like, you're writing that like, oh no, don't. And college basketball is particularly prone to this, right? Like they're just like, no.
You start missing free throws. You throw the ball into the corner and get trapped. There's a 5-second call. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Not get called when you should.
It's just like
all good stuff.
You needed, like, it's one of those deals with like you needed 50 things to happen in a row, and then they start happening one by one, and you just start getting more and more dread, and your palms get sweatier.
And by the time they get to 30 of them, you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Oh, absolutely. By then, you're just like it's just a matter of time now. And just like, and you can't even it's a tough feeling,
Yeah. Well, Love went to the line with seconds to go, shooting 2 for the cover.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, come on, make them both. You got to make them both. And he did. But they got out of there with the win and with the cover, which was very nice.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, so Bama's still Bama. Bama's just doing their thing. I do think that Bama, a lot. Did you notice this, the line for the Robert Morris game? Like they really, a lot of people were on Robert Morris, and it was a big spread, right? It was like 18, or is it more? I think it was like
16.
16?
No, maybe.
No, it was more than that.
No, maybe more than, yeah, it was more than that. But I was on Rob Morris.
Yeah, and I was too, and I'm like, that was it wound up being a pretty easy cover in the end. Like, they were winning by for big significant parts of the game. Like it was the public really liked it, and I think this is a rare case where the public was on top of it this time. Like I felt like for whatever reason, I just thought Robert Morris could give him a game. They have similar pace, and it was just a matter of whether they could keep up with the offense, and they did a pretty good job. Like so,
Yeah. Well, Robert Morris is right now known for scoring a lot of points. That's why I went with the over too, but I didn't think I was going to get it, and we needed every little bit of the end of game foul shooting.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
genuinely thought that I took the over too. Just like I said, I mentioned the pace and everything, and I was like, I wasn't even paying attention, I wasn't even looking at it. I'm like, it's all right. Well, I thought it was worth it anyway, and then I just moved on. And then I look at the score, like, what? It's 90-81. Like, how did that happen with 3 minutes left? And it was like barely like 140. Like, what happened over there? It was like, what happened? Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, just the foul game's insane. That was great. We'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about Bama? I just don't. And I love Nate Oates. He's from up my way up here.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if you know what I mean. If you're going to win a tournament, try to do what he does.
Fair, yeah. He's all in with that 3-pointer, like D'Antoni, right? Like sort of D'Antoni.
It's like almost Grinnell, like Grinnell style. It's like, can you really win a title like that? I mean, and don't get me wrong, they have Sears, they have Mark Sears, and he is generational talent,
right?
That kid can play.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? They probably get by this one because, in my opinion, BYU is overachieved.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, Wisconsin had a really good year. I should mention, like they had a very different team. They were much. They're not your father's Wisconsin at all, because like they are scoring
No, scoring points.
Yeah. So
I did not like the end of that game though.
Oh yeah.
For Wisconsin. I mean, I understand giving it to Tanjay.
Yeah.
But everyone in the world knew that it was going to go to Tanjay.
It was a brutal possession, right? Like it's just like, really, guys? Like you only needed to tie the game. You didn't even need to shoot a 3, and they were lost out there. You're right.
He kind of got to the side of the lane there, but there were 2 guys there walling him off, and he just had to go up with it. And
yeah.
Just like one guy on 4 or 5 there, and I said we all knew he was gonna be the one to shoot it.
Give him the ball, and it's like
he had time. He had enough time to do something.
He did.
I don't know. That disappointed me a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think if you were someone who had BYU, because the spread in that game was also like 1.5, right? It was really small. And if you had BYU, like I did during that game, you were sweating at the end of that because they were really trying to throw the game away. It was unbelievable, but I was actually excited for the Juice. I was happy for the Juice too.
Yeah. Well, Saunders had to come in, and he made those 4 free throws at the end, back to back.
Mm-hmm.
And that was huge. I mean, he had 25 points, but those 4 free throws at the end just kind of calmed everything right down.
Oh yeah, definitely. So,
but man, I don't know. I just can't see him. I just can't see that BYU team getting past Alabama.
Well, I think when you talk about end of game situations, I don't see BYU as the kind of team that can execute when you're put into the foul game, when it's 1 possession game and you're less than a minute to go. Like that's gonna favor Alabama for sure. Bama's deeper too, so like I don't see it happening.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm with you on that. Now I haven't checked any of the odds for these games yet. Let me see if I can go pull this up on my phone. But
I really haven't either.
We'll see.
Alabama 5.5.
5.5. Okay. I mean, I don't know if I'd lay that. I guess I would.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I love them to win. I love them to win. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
Probably would take a chance on that. Yeah. We look at Duke, Arizona. I'm sure Duke's gonna be giving double digits on this one. No, I'm close.
9.5.
9.5. Okay. So I probably would
I
play.
see 9.5.
Would you lay that? I think I would.
Oof.
Yeah, maybe you did say you're right, but you are right though. Arizona will be a tough out, so maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know.
Well, Auburn 8.5 with Michigan. I almost take the points
I
there.
would probably take the points. Yeah, I would take the points. Michigan can hang around. Then you look at Ole Miss, Michigan State. I gotta see what the line is for this. Oh no, we're going Izzo, right?
Yeah, 3.5. I'd lay that all day.
Yeah, I'm with you. Kentucky, Tennessee, Oh, this would be interesting. Is this the time? Is this the time to fade? Is this the time to fade Rick Barnes? I don't know.
That's a real good question.
Yeah, it's a tough call. Tough call. Rookie coach, or maybe 1 or 2 year coach against Rick Barnes.
Yeah,
that's tough. I don't know what to do with that. I don't know.
It's hard to lay 8.5 with Houston because you don't know if they're gonna. They've had so many close games that they've won. I don't know.
I mean, isn't it basically the same team playing itself though, from a style standpoint though? Because like Purdue's kind of. I mean, they're not the fastest team, and neither is Houston. So maybe they'll hang around just from that.
I don't know. I'm just going to hand wave that from a betting perspective.
I think it's that's fair. I probably wouldn't touch it in actuality. If I had to pick
Yeah, look, I'm in a bracket pool. I'm in one pool with one bracket.
Yeah.
And it's a three horse race. Me and 2 other guys.
Yep.
And we're all just about equal odds to win. And all 3 of us have different champions.
Wow. That kind of year, huh?
Yeah. So I have Duke, somebody has Houston, and somebody has Auburn.
That's fair.
And my final game is Duke and Florida. So if I can start if I could get, a Houston or an Auburn knocked off, that look good.
And I think you would get the same. You would have a really good chance too if you got Florida in the Final Four. So in essence, they need to take care of business, and then that would be a big boost for you because I feel like the other 3, you're gonna have a lot of people have that. A lot of people have that in common with you. I don't think as many people would pick Florida. I think more people would pick Auburn, but they are still 1 seed.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I have Michigan State coming out of that region.
Oh, you do? Interesting. Let me see.
Yeah.
That makes that. I can see that. It's a 2 seed. It's a 2 seed, and we talked about Auburn, and they can be beat. I think Izzo could find a game plan that would beat them. Yeah. I could see it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm definitely alive. I can have things go my way, and
Yeah. It's a good feeling. It's good to know that you still have that kind of juice when you're entering the second weekend because your bracket can be destroyed very quickly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, my friend Brian's the one who runs the group, and he is the one person in the group that has 0.0% chance. He has already been eliminated out of the 13 or 14 people in the bracket. He's already eliminated.
Wow.
No path to victory.
No path to victory. That's rough when you see all the X's and then you're just like, oh man, nobody can get to the final.
He tried to get cute and pick like UConn over Florida.
Yeah, this is a really tough year to try things like that, It's just like I just don't see.
I picked some upsets in the first round, but after the first round, I went very, very chalk.
Yeah, it would seem like a good year for that. I mean, we talked about Duke and how much consistent they've been all year, and actually it was a good sign to see them stay that way in the first round. So honestly, they're just like you said, they had the best player and they're playing the best ball, and they seem to be they have the least amount of drama to their wins most of the time. So if we look at so you have Duke playing Florida. Let me give you I mean, I didn't predict it at the beginning of the tournament, but I definitely predicted Duke. So I definitely have Duke in the championship. The other teams we'll have in the Final Four. I probably would have picked. Well, I did actually pick UCLA just in my mock bracket that I did, so that would have been rough. But now that they're out, I'll just pick Houston. In the Western Regional, because the other one was Midwest, and then Duke is in the East. Yeah. So in the West, I'm pretty sure I would have taken Florida, and then for the South, I would have gone. I'm pretty sure I'd have gone Auburn, even though I really shouldn't have, because like you talked about with Michigan State, they had the better momentum going in. They also have the better conference record too. I should mention that, but I think Michigan State is probably more likely to do it. But I will pick Auburn anyways, just I want to be consistent with what I would have picked at the beginning of the tournament. I would have picked Auburn. So,
right. Yeah.
So that's my 4. Championship, I'm gonna say of those choices, I'm gonna go Florida versus Duke, and then of course I'm gonna take Duke to take Florida out. So that's my setup. What do you have?
That's what I got.
Oh, same. Okay.
Florida and Duke in the championship game. I have my other 2 teams were Michigan State and Houston.
Yeah, I do like your pick of Michigan State because it's tough to bet against a great coach who's been so good in March like Izzo, and if the team is good enough to kind of hang with him, and you can see with it, the way they finished, they definitely are. Yeah, it's a good call. I hope you get at least 3 of those right, because like it would suck if like we did this and then it's like, oh, only Houston made it. Like, oh man, that would be rough.
Honestly, the way I see it, the sooner Houston and Auburn get knocked out, the better for me.
Yeah.
The other 2 guys I'm going against have those champions.
Yeah, but it's a rare year. You have 3. You're going against 2 other guys that in this bracket pool, and they have completely different teams for the title or for the champion. So it's a rare year. Yeah, rare year. Doesn't happen often.
Like I said, I picked upsets in the first round. In fact, I thought, and this was a real out there one. I thought maybe North Carolina, coming off of a good first 4 win, could catch a little lightning. But that was kind of foolish.
Oh man, me too. I think I'm pretty sure we talked about that in the messages. Like I was like, what was I thinking? Like it was never a game either.
Yale was a real trendy pick. A lot of people were on Yale.
Oh yeah,
over A&M.
Yeah,
that was very trendy.
That's true.
I didn't bite on that.
No, good deal. That's a good.
Did
I bite on it?
If 10/7 is considered an upset, I definitely had New Mexico.
Okay.
Colorado State was the 12-5 I had.
Mm-hmm.
I had Drake 11 over the 6. At Arkansas, that 10 seed. And what was the other one I tried? Oh yeah, like I said, wasn't much into Purdue. Tried High Point. That worked for about 12 minutes. For about 12 minutes, that looked like it could have been a possibility in that game.
I think. Well, the one I want to take back, it wouldn't even. I think the one I really want to take back is Lipscomb against Iowa State. That was a possibility for like 5 minutes. Like they did kind of like they were within 5. And like, okay, well maybe this will be all right. But it wasn't. And it was a disaster. Like 82-55, disaster. Like, again, I don't know what I was thinking with that. It happens, Chris. It happens.
Yep, it happens.
But I think the balance of it was pretty positive. Like, I mean, overall, my handicapping skills have been pretty good this weekend. I think overall it'd been pretty solid.
Yeah, I have no complaints.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 69-69 with 3.7 left. And UC Irvine's going to get the ball here with a chance to win.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. Because the UAB kid just turned the ball over like a dumbass. I mean, literally, he jumped and turned into nothing. He just came down and landed in the middle of the lane.
Man, what a!
But now there's going to be a timeout, so it's going to be about 10 minutes before we.
I just put it on. I just want to see what happens here. But like you said, there's a timeout. It's probably be a while. Well, while we wait this out,
God forbid they have to go review something.
Oh no! Don't even. Oh my gosh!
Can all be tired of, right?
No, can you really imagine? That'll be another hour. Like, it's my least favorite thing in sports. College basketball reviews at the end of a game. Like, no, you're just sitting around staring at a monitor that just bounce like.
Quote Monty Python. Get on with it.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, they're back from the TV timeout, so we'll see how this goes.
Yep.
Now UAB. There's a 5.5 point spread, right?
4.5 or 5.5.
Oh, 4.5. Okay. Let's see if our friend Chris gets on the winning side of this. Overtime would be rough, I think. Even if you were on the underdog, overtime would be particularly rough.
They've been up most of the game, though. It was last 8-10 minutes that Irvine came back here. It's interesting right now. And it took a timeout with 7 left. Come on.
A timeout with 0.7 left, guys.
Well, we were probably going to have to go review when the timeout came because they want to get it over half court here.
Oh, man.
Kid, what are you doing? You got to get over.
Oh, this game's in Irvine. I could have gone to the game. Look at that. Could have been there.
Guarantee you could have gotten a seat.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Probably a good one.
Oh yeah, I could have been right.
You could have done the show from the box seats and just waved at them.
That would have been great.
Some people did.
Well, I wouldn't have to worry about the crowd noise. So we would have been pretty solid to do the show.
It's not Pauley Pavilion.
Nah. Well, hey, wait. It's better now. It's better now.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's better. It's certainly better than it was when Dick Vitale ripped the crowd there. It's still not like Cameron Indoor, but it's certainly at least. Yeah, this is tedious. We've had this on for 4 minutes and they've just been standing around the whole time. My goodness. At some point they're going to run a play. And play
with 0.7.
I mean, not a lot could happen in 0.7 seconds. So time will tell on that.
Nope.
Does anybody have a timeout? Oh, yes. Yeah, someone has a timeout. Both sides have a timeout. So, let's see. If they're going to run a play. That was a good play. It didn't go in, but that was a good play.
They tried running 2 guys off the top there, and you're hoping that they go with the first guy and they leave the second guy, but
oh yeah,
that wasn't the case.
Right on. I'm gonna have to shut down my stream because it's cutting into the. I forgot that when you watch YouTube, when you watch TV on the computer while you're streaming, that usually isn't good for stream quality. So I will put that to bed. Just had a little bit of a, what is it we used to call? It was vid moments.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, that brings a memory. Vid moments. I love it.
Oh yeah. Lots of vid moments.
Vid moments were fun.
Oh, vid moments, vid mushes. Mike mushes.
Well, Mike Mushes inspired the vid mush. Like the Mike Mush came first,
Right, yeah.
Yeah. They were legendary.
But you didn't have Harrison's college fund on.
That's true. Very different scenario. And so the rants after after the game were extraordinary. Like, I do always enjoy that. Do you remember when we go back to this all the time? But 13 years ago, when the Mets blew that game to the Rockies, who were 42 and 73, something like that.
42. It's
42 and 73. And then the Rockies are like, "Can you believe we beat these guys?" Like,
guys beat these guys.
Oh, so
it's
good.
Like, why did they think that Mike lost money in that game? Why is Mike betting daytime baseball between the Mets and Rockies? Why is anybody doing that?
I really want to think he did not bet on that, because I can't visualize a scenario of why you would even want to bother with that game.
No, exactly.
Because the juice would have been like 300 or something like that. It's not like he would have won anything won that much, just taking it straight up. So it's like, yeah, great. It was just a rare moment in time, and
he picked the starting pitchers 3 innings.
Because what's funny is that when they joined the game, when they joined the mic broadcast in progress, because I don't know what they were doing on YES. I guess maybe the Yankee game was on, so they probably just went into it midstream.
Right.
But when the YES Network joined the simulcast of Mike's radio show, he was already in the middle of the rant. Like, he wasn't even like starting the show. Like, he was already in the middle of like yelling, and like, and then this is happening, and this is happening, and like the video of that is insane. It's like it was so funny. I still watch it from time to time when I need a good laugh. Like,
oh well, there's a lot to watch. He gave us so much.
Yeah.
The pea shooter rant.
It's just one of the great rants of all time. I mean, not rant, it's like the great speeches of all time. Like, that was, you want to go through a wall after that speech. That speech.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It was a great board moment too, because like we were all like just standing ovation, clapping, doing the clap emo, like that,
I always thought it's like the board, but and I'm not the only one who has pointed this out. I'm sure Andy has too, up in Seattle. But like the board views Mike as like a little brother.
Yeah,
like we can pick on Mike, but as soon as somebody else tries to pick on Mike, oh no, not happening.
Exactly. We're like, oh, he's so fat. Like, people like would use Mike is fat as like an insult.
Yeah. Mike is cranky. Mike is fat. Mike is lazy.
It's so good. Mike is sleepy. If you remember when he was falling asleep during an interview, yeah.
Yeah.
So
genuine worry when he left in the middle of like a segment.
Oh yeah, we didn't know what was going on.
Didn't know what was going on, and next thing you know is like we get like Captain Midnight on there.
Captain, I forgot about Captain Midnight. Oh my gosh, that was a lot. That jogged a memory.
Me here and you there.
Oh yeah. Oh no, you mean Steve Summers Captain Midnight. I thought you meant like a board. Yeah, the actual Captain Midnight. I'm sorry. Yeah.
It's like all of a sudden Mike dropped off in like the middle of a freaking segment or whatever, and time goes by and nobody knows what's happening. On next thing you know, is Steve Summers is talking at you. You're going like, Mike, okay?
That's a good memory. I forgot what happened that night. That's a good question.
He had something going on. He wasn't feeling good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I guess he had to leave early or something, right? Didn't he have to like leave early? Yeah. Oh, that was bananas. We were very worried about Mike. And so it just kind of shows what you were saying. We all get on him like when he was doing his things, like, you suck, you're the worst. I hope And then somebody else, or when something bad actually happens to him, like, oh no, Mike, don't die. Oh no.
Right.
We love you, Mike. It was great. When he retired the first out of 5 times.
I stopped keeping track.
Yeah, I did too.
Made the first comeback, and then whatever, I was like, I'm kind of done with it.
Yeah. There's just no going back. It's like It's even worse than when MJ came back. Like Michael Jordan came back with the Wizards. It's like, oh, you know, yeah, he wasn't horrible playing for them, but it just lost all the cachet. And you're like,
Right, yeah.
you mentally moved on at that point. It's like you've already moved on. Like trying to jump back in
We
at
had
that.
we had the Tearfelt tribute show.
Yeah, it was great, and it was such an amazing ending. I feel like that was the greatest, like the last greatest thread we had on the board, and I think you even popped in for some of it. Like I think I remember you were in the mix for a little bit of that.
Oh yeah, I was definitely there.
Yeah, we had so many people come out of the woodwork for that one day, and it was just the perfect ending to the arc of Mike Francesa's radio career. And then he threw it away, like, and people stopped paying attention to him. It's just like sad. Like he's on Bet Rivers now. Like, well, I might even be having better ratings than Mike, and that's sad. And no knock on what I'm doing over on Twitch, but like that's rough for Mike. If anything I'm doing is competing with Mike, like that's not good. But
yeah.
But
I mean, you can only pull the comeback so many times.
Yeah, it was but you know, that last moment we had together.
Yeah, I know why they wanted him to come back, because what they replaced him with was utterly atrocious. Atrocious.
Oh, it's true, man. It was the worst. I'm glad that didn't. Nobody expected CMB to last long, but I'm glad it didn't, because like it really was.
Yeah. Mercy killing.
Yeah, you're right. It was brutal. Like they were trying way too hard with that show.
Yeah, I don't know how you fix something that was broke that bad.
Nah.
You pull the plug.
Yeah. I mean, they did what they could do with it. Just dumb management on FAN's end. It's like trying to force
at that point. At that point, you were just better off promoting Joe and Evan to the drive time. Really?
I thought they did eventually do that.
Did they? I have no idea what's going on down there.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, it's been so long now. Like it's like 8 years ago now. I can't believe it's been that long. But
right,
yeah, it's 8 years ago now. So yeah, you're right. I don't know. I'm not even keeping up with it anymore. Like
yeah, but it was like 2008 or so when I actually found the board, and I had to think about it when I was thinking today.
Yeah,
how long you've been doing the Dave in the City out west, or
this show, yeah,
Dave Eats Sandwiches.
Yeah,
it's got to be 15 years.
It's been over 15 years, yeah, definitely. We started December 2008, so I would consider 2009 to be our first year. And so yeah, we well over 15 years. Like I think.
Oh yeah.
That would be like 16-ish at this point, because we're just a little bit into 2025. And I think go ahead.
That's a Mike and Mad Dog like run.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you. I really appreciate that, Chris. Like, and I really am proud of what we've done together. And I'm really grateful to you and so many other people who have been joining me over the years, and also tonight, just to as we wind this down. It's really cool to know that we can still have these conversations. And
anytime,
right? Like we don't even have to do it on the air. We could just do it. We could just chat like we do on the messenger thing all the time. So like I'm always glad to open a thread with you and get into all the scenarios. But but it has been great, and you know, I do appreciate it was kind of neat because like we had Mike on FAN, you know, post Mike and the Mad Dog. We had Dog on Sirius, who's now way bigger than Mike, which is ironic. Like we used to clown on Mike for Dog being Radio Nowhere, and now dude's on ESPN. So it's like, wow.
Yeah, I was just listening to him yesterday. How you got to give Hurley a break with his antics.
Now that's on brand. I love it. Doggy's
Yeah,
fired up.
very on brand. It's very on brand because, man, you can see some similarities there between the two.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. That's true. Kind of. I do see. Yeah.
Oh, did you see Hurley when he was walking off the floor? That clip.
I did not. He had the same
But
gait.
when they walked off the floor into the back, they passed the Baylor kids waiting to get on the floor and warm up.
Mm-hmm.
He's going, they fucked us. They fucked us. I hope they don't fuck you, Baylor, like they fucked us. I really hope they don't.
Wow.
Complaining about, I guess, the officiating because that's what they do.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's like, if they fucked us, I hope they don't fuck you, Baylor. I really hope they don't fuck you like they fucked us.
Wow. I mean, he's probably not wrong. I mean, I'm sure the officiating was trash that game. Wouldn't surprise me. So.
Oh no, I didn't see it. I was at work. Brian was keeping me filled in. He just said it was the game of the tournament. He gave me the play-by-play at the end, and he never said, "Oh, this is awful." So.
Mm-hmm. So you think it could be sour grapes on Hurley's end? That wouldn't surprise me either.
Yeah. He seems to, especially like right in the moment, not want to take any blame.
Yeah.
On him or his side. Which I he's a passionate guy.
That's a very Mike quality, actually, to not take blame for things.
Right. Well, yeah. But to spout it off, that's more of a dog thing.
Oh yeah. Very much so. Dog is very much a loose cannon, as they say. But yeah, it's been lovely. I mean, I'm just glad that we can still do this. But it's kind of interesting because, like, I know you're so much busier in what you do, like your daytime job, your regular line of work. You've been so much busier lately, and I have too. Like I've got a new job like about a year and a half ago, and that's kept me occupied. I'm doing some like much larger level things than I used to. So I know you're like, I think you might even be a manager at this point, or are you like in the mix for?
Yeah. It depends on where they have me, the size of the store, the department. Right now, I'm the number 2 guy at the store I'm at, which is fine. I get along great.
Yeah. That's cool.
As far as the seafood department, it's a lot. It's a lot of work, though. It's a higher volume store, and it's just getting better. But man, like, just didn't have the people, the bodies.
That's tough.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. You gotta have the horses.
Right. It's like I don't know what to tell you. I only have so many people I can schedule. It's not enough.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah.
And then the one girl up and left right around Thanksgiving.
Ooh.
And she was really, really good.
Oh no.
It was like a living situation scenario, and her and her boyfriend were renting out by that store, and the situation with landlords and the condition of the place and all this wasn't, I don't know the whole story, but she ended up, they ended up not renewing their lease and ended up going back, I'm sure, to her parents' place, which was in the town. Yes, we have a town up here. It's actually a small city, but that's being a little generous, called Auburn.
Oh, you have an Auburn up there. Wow.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
It's probably about, from where I sit right now, it's probably about 45 minutes from here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
From me.
That's a journey.
But there's a Wegman store out there. Now it's probably 25 minutes from the store that I work at, because the Fairmount store is to the west of me,
mm-hmm.
and Auburn is further south and west of there. But basically, her and her boyfriend both working for Wegmans, they wanted and were granted a transfer to the Auburn store.
Yeah.
And then and right before, it sucked right before the holidays, right before Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah.
That was awful.
Oh man, I feel that. Yeah, my heart goes out to all of you who work at stores like that, like any grocery store. Yeah, any retail really. But
yeah, like I said, it's kind of looking up now. But then again, I don't know what the next couple weeks are going to bring personally, because starting next week, I gotta see if I have to report for not just jury duty, but grand jury duty.
They have grand jury duty? I didn't know that you could do that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, and that could be, if you get selected, that could be like 5 to 6 weeks.
Oh dear.
Of a couple days a week, and you don't know what days they are until 5 o'clock the night before.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I think I remember. You'll appreciate this because this involves a mush. Do you remember when I set up the meetup for everybody at Virgil's at Times Square, and on the board?
Yeah.
And then Umar was like, "Oh, I can't wait to show up. I can't wait to meet you." Da da da. And then he got selected for a grand jury, and he was out for the same amount, like you said, 5 to 6 weeks, and that ended his career on the board basically. And I'm like, holy crap! Like,
don't make excuses. We all know what Umar did.
I'm not going to convince some people. Yeah, we know what Umar did. Umar was
what he gave birth. What he gave birth to. What he encouraged. What he allowed to happen.
He was
that whole other stuff that
we talked. Yeah, that it is. In fact, we did a whole podcast on that. Like, if you want to look it up, it was somewhere around 2017, 2018. We did a whole podcast on the Mongo Nation era.
I was on the show when that one dumbass got on.
Oh, Mark Mongo? Yeah.
Yeah, Mark Mongo.
And then we dismissed.
And yes, you very, very quickly put the finger on that.
I gave the proverbial hand wave to that interview. Yeah. That was a unifying moment for the board. Oh my gosh, that's funny. No, that's true. I mean, look, I
don't want you on my show.
That's so funny. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I do have to give Umar a lot of credit for like finding a following like that. It's kind of like a much larger scale version of what I'm experiencing on Twitch. Like, he had like 1 point like 20,000 people following him on Twitter. I was like, wow, that is crazy. Like,
just for being the audio genius.
Right, correct. That and sometimes montages and things like that. But then other people try to copycat. That the problem was the people trying to copycat them was the issue.
Yeah.
And the t-shirts and the fun, what was it? Fun house? Like the fun house guy? And then yeah, that was not pretty. That was not pretty. Like they're just
not fun time.
What was that?
Not fun time. Fun time was
no. Fun time was from our board, but Fun House was the guy on a separate website. So
thank Fun Time.
Thank Fun Time. Now I'm not even going to try to explain that. If you know, you know. That's just a whole that we would take another 45 minutes just getting into the Fun Time, the era of Fun Time. But I hope he's doing all right though, for real. Like I hope Matt's doing okay out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a whole thing for a while, folks. But it had the ride. It had FrancescaCon. Remember FrancescaCon? And then like Mike went up there. And
he was a good sport about it.
Oh, absolutely.
He really was a good sport.
That's what made it so fun. Like he came in and he was really playing off the crowd. He loved it. He was having a great time, and like he owned it. Like he took this. Like he's so good at that. Like it was really great.
This ends like this, that'd be great.
Oh, let me see.
All right.
You got it?
Yep.
Cool.
81-77.
Oh, that'll get the job done. Yeah. Got the cover. Very nice. Very, very nice. Well done, sir. But yeah. So the post Mike arc of our board obviously was was a little grisly, and obviously things are different now. Like we've just all moved on, and
Oh yeah.
and that's okay. Like it's cool. Like we've all kind of branched into different things, and it's been cool. It's been awesome to see, and I still follow some of you on Instagram. I saw some of you on Facebook. Obviously, I see you there. And some people I just text, like Sharon and Junkie. I still text Junkie every now and again. So and
Junkie still on me?
yeah,
Junkie.
not it's. I mean, we did a show a couple weeks ago, and I think that was the first one we had done in like 5 years, because we did a couple during the pandemic. Like when I say pandemic, during the initial wave of the pandemic, like the COVID year, as we all call it.
Yeah.
But we did not, as far as we know, we didn't do a show in between that and like this month. So it's kind of gives you an idea like how busy we've been with everything else.
Right.
So it
He's
just
still up there on the Cape, or
no, he moved. We just call him that just for continuity. He hasn't been in the Cape for a very long time. Like I think he's been in the Berkshires for probably maybe 5 to 7 years now. Quite a while.
Okay, he's up that way. Gotcha.
Yeah, and I think I kind of feel like Jerry's not even in Piscataway anymore. I think I just continue to call him that for continuity too.
Right. Yeah.
He's probably in like Middlesex or something like that. I don't know, some other part of New Jersey. Like I don't know. Like, but
Montclair.
yeah, for sure. It's just kind of like it's just kind of one of those brands. Like it's become a brand. Like if Mandy were to move to a different part of, like if Mandy were to move to Portland, I might still call him Mandy in Seattle just because that's his name. Like if you moved to Buffalo, I think I might still call you Chris in Syracuse, and you probably would appreciate that. I don't think you'd want to be identified as Buffalo.
No, I wouldn't. And I probably would never admit to it.
No, for sure. So I would respect that too. So like it's just kind of funny how these cities have identified us, who we are on the podcast, and it's been really fun. And first time, long time. And and I said this to everybody else, like if you ever want to jump in over on the Sandwich Show on Twitch, just to shoot the shit like we're doing right now, like I'd be glad to do that. Just let me know if you ever want to do it.
Oh yeah. Sure.
I didn't get time to explain the arc of Jake, Scrub, and Grog, because that was one of the things I wanted to do, but it seems like a good. I want to go there someday. It just seems like a great spot.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? Right on the other side, there's the Wild Horse where I go every Monday now to play trivia. That's a great place too.
Cool. Yeah, it seems like fun.
I don't get to Jake's anymore.
Oh, I see.
But still going strong.
Good to know. Yeah. But I think in the end, it's beautiful to see that that Jake is still going strong. That's really great. And I mentioned on socials that like our mutual friend Justro Syracuse has a career there. I don't know if he's still playing there now, but he had been for a while. So that's really cool. And then but yeah, I think this is just all to say, like, I think I picked a good time to kind of put a nice bow on this journey. And I just look back and I just think about how much fun this all was. And I'm grateful to it because it's made me a better person. It's made me a better broadcaster. It's also made me more knowledgeable sports fan, because all y'all are like so good and so dialed in with all these sports. Like, I appreciate you.
Well, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me all those years.
Yeah, you got it.
When I come on a more regular basis. Those were good times. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Yankee panels with Jerry and starting pitcher and all those guys.
Yep. College basketball. We mix it up with Tommy and
Mr. Wood.
Oh yeah, our buddy Checker. Yeah, that's right.
Checker on a checker.
Checker on a checker. Yeah, still doing his thing too, which I'm glad to like. So you know where to find me, Chris. We'll be in touch. We'll stay in touch, I'm sure. And I do hope one day that I will end up in Central New York, because I now have more than one friend there. You used to be like my one friend over there, but But now I have like a few, so it's going to be kind of fun to
really?
hang around there.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Be a different area for you for sure.
Oh yeah. it'll be an adjustment for me a little. Yeah. I mean, maybe I would probably recommend coming in during the spring and the summer. I don't think the other parts of the year are going to be.
You don't want any. It snowed today.
Oh my God! Really?
It didn't stick to the ground, but
okay.
you're just looking outside when it was happening, being like, "Aren't we done with this shit? Can't it just go away?" It was in the 60s last week. Just make a clean break and get done with this, please.
Yeah, I feel it. I feel pain. My friends on the East Coast have been saying the same thing. It's like, golly, this tease. Like they had like one day where it was sunny. Like it thought, all right, is this it? And it's like, no, false spring.
Oh, the pain.
Oh, the pain. Yeah. So, yeah, and I'm sending your best wishes to your workplace as well. It's been great. It's been great. And I guess I'll give it to you for final thoughts, like we usually do on the program. Like any final thoughts before we go?
Not much. Just again, thank you for having me on tonight. Thanks for having me on all those other times. Thanks to all the other guests, and congratulations on a great run. And very hopeful for what the future holds for you and your broadcasting career, if you want to call it that.
I guess I call it a hobby, right? But there's a little bit of a career in there too. I guess I could call it. Yeah. But thank you, Chris. Like,
hey, I get paid to talk. Hey, I get paid to talk somewhere too. So
that's true. You do get paid to talk. You're announcing. Yeah, you're announcing. You're announcing races. That's pretty fun. That sounds exciting to me.
Yeah, it's different. Never thought I'd do it, but and thank you, and
thank you.
It's cool to see that it lasted all this time and all these years later.
Yeah.
I still remember listening to the original like Doc Rivers comment when I was in a hotel room in Charlotte, North Carolina, that I just rolled in for a race, and I remember, watching for that comment. And here we are, 2025.
Yeah.
And I guess saying sign off and good night, and we'll catch you later.
You got it, Chris. Thank you so much, my friend. Cheers, so good to see Chris again. That was awesome. Like it was. Oh man, a lot of good memories. I love Chris bringing up the intro. He always tells that story. Now, for a long time I knew the anniversary of the Doc Rivers incident, which was during a Celtics game against the Bucks. I believe it was November 3rd, 2010 when that happened. And I was actually on during the show when that happened, because we were doing the show live on Block Talk Radio. So it was the most primitive system imaginable. You would put your show and you would have all your podcast gear or whatever, and it would all go into a phone call. So it would just sound like a phone call. And then the phone call, you're basically just on the phone, like with this call center, and the call center would like put it out to the internet, and it would record it too. So in 2010, that was pretty good technology. Like you had a live radio show, and it didn't even cost that much a month. It was like $10 a month. And then you had people chatting at the same time. So this is how it all started for me. Like the entire arc of being a podcast host, being an interview host, being a commentator, and doing live streaming. Although for a lot of that time, it was live streaming with just the audio, no video. And we dabbled with like Google, the Google thing. They had this thing called Google. There was a Google live streaming service, and I have continuously forgotten what the name of it is, but this was in a time before YouTube live streaming was actually its own thing. You actually went through Google itself to do it. And so I experimented with that. I couldn't figure out how to do different camera angles, how to put different people on screen, how to put graphics on the screen. It was very primitive looking. If you can actually watch those, but it's just not on the sandwich. It's not on Dave Easy Eating Sandwiches channel. It's on a different channel. If you ever want to, if you really want to watch, just ping, message me. I can show you. I can link you. But that was the beginning of like what ended up eventually being a streaming career. And when we finally, in a really interesting twist of irony, the pandemic actually made me realize the dream I had wanted to do for a long time, which is to get the people who are on the podcast to be on screen, because most of them would just call in. But because people got used to Zoom by necessity as a result of all the shutdowns in the COVID year, when people were starting to get back in the mix again, and we were starting to get back into football season later in 2020, I was reaching out like, do you want to just go on Zoom and try this? And my friends were like, yeah, let's go do it. And that kind of like things were cooking at that point. Now, at the beginning of it, I was just on Zoom. Maybe I should just come on here and just do a whole podcast to break this down. I don't know if I'm gonna have that kind of time, but we were just on Zoom, and literally I used Zoom to output the whole thing, so it looked extremely primitive. It was just a Zoom call. It's just like there's no graphics. It's just a Zoom call. The Google Hangouts, it's called Hangouts. Google Hangouts did have graphics, but they could only do like one, so it was just kind of just sitting there the whole time. But it was okay for the purpose. So when we were doing Zoom and you could get 4 people on screen at the same time, it was awesome. Like, that was great. So, and then just about a year later, I found, a friend of mine introduced me to Twitch, and I started dabbling in that. I was faced with the decision, do I just keep doing this show I'm doing right now on Twitch? Like, do we just do, at the time it was called Dave in the City, do we do Dave in the City on Twitch? And I'm like, we could, but I can just keep doing this on the podcast, so I don't need to just repeat what I'm doing. It seems kind of redundant. So why don't I try something completely different? Why don't I do a show where I'm not doing any sports at all? And so it essentially was my idea to do like a late night talk show. And eventually I settled on the name Davey's Eating a Sandwich, because that was what my late cousin, Violet Christian, would say to me. For a time many years ago, and it became this big running gag. So I just used that handle on Discord when we were gonna go on Discord to play games. So I'm like, let's just use that handle again and just put it on Twitch, and the rest is history. So anyway, with all that said, it was great to hear from Chris in Syracuse tonight, and it started with people like him. Like, these conversations I've had taught me how to be a broadcaster. I mean, how to have a conversation, and I appreciate you, Chris. Thank you, and thank you all for tuning in tonight. If you missed any part of it over on YouTube, the VOD will publish immediately, so you can just rewind it and go back. You can actually on YouTube it's a little different, because you can actually rewind a VOD while it's live. That's a little fun fact about YouTube live streaming. So you could actually have gone back even in the middle of the show, but if you hadn't at this point, you still can. So with that, I say goodnight. Over on Twitch, we've got big things brewing, but since we're going to publish this to a podcast, I won't get into specifics about it. But it's an exciting month for us for sure. Next week, I'm going to see if we can get Tommy New Jersey on. I will see if maybe I can get Chris in Georgia to join me. One of the two hopefully will be on the Sandwich Corner next week, and then we'll just keep, I think that'll give us like 1 or 2 more weeks before the big finale, which I'm hoping is a group show. So that finale is either going to be on April the 9th or maybe April the 15th. But I'm feeling pretty good that that's going to be the end for sure. It's just not defined because I've had so much material on, so many other things to schedule. So when I know, I will let you know. But definitely follow the podcast feed and stay on YouTube. I will certainly have those things will publish pretty quickly. You'll see them. So thanks everybody. Have a good rest of your night. It's been grand. I'm Dave Medina. You know me as Davey's Eating a Sandwich on social media and on Twitch and on YouTube. It's been grand. Have a good rest of your night. And we're back to next week, hopefully at some point, for another Sandwich Corner. Catch me on Twitch. I'm doing all sorts of fun things over there. We're having all sorts of fun people over there too. And we'll see you next time.